You can watch Table of Content live on Twitch every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.twitch.tv/elevatethenetwork.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Table of Content, the Elevate Community Roundtable Show. We're going to discuss all the happenings around streaming, gaming, and entertainment. We are joined this week once again by TIE Fighter X1 and Eminent Stump. And for the very first time, he streams once in a while. You might know him. Red Fox 15. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you doing this evening?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
I am well. So we know a lot about TIE Fighter and Eminent Stump. They've been on the show several times, but Fox, tell us about your role in the Elevate community.
I am the EVP of technology. So basically anything and everything we have that involves technology servers outside of the actual Discord itself, I have my hands in it.
Is that why it's all broken? No, I kid.
Yes, that is exactly why it's all broken.
TIE Fighter, you're being quiet. How are you?
I am better than yesterday. You know, I talk a lot, so I'm trying to make sure everybody else has a chance to say something before I take over the show.
Tatsu has her hands in the pudding, apparently. So, all right, guys, I'm going to jump right into streaming news. We got some interesting stuff to talk about. So, Drake, everybody's favorite Degrassi star, will be signing has signed an exclusive deal to stream on Caffeine, one of Twitch's rival platforms. So Caffeine entered the marketplace last year, but with a focus on celebrity-oriented channels. Offset, I don't know who that is, but was the first major star to join. Obviously not major enough. So Caffeine aimed to offer something a little different than Mixer and Twitch. Now it scored a massive win, signing an exclusive multi-year deal with Drake. In the past, he's been kind of a Fortnite streamer, and there's no word on whether that'll kind of be his focus again. But he is going to be including a series of rap battles, which I thought was pretty neat, in partnership with the Ultimate Rap League. And the battles are going to stream live on his channel, and they are going to start February 29th, so not too far off. I think I'm going to try to check that out. And I'll also be using his channel for new artists and creative voices, which is pretty cool. Instead of just charity streaming, kind of doing something a little different. So with a name like Drake on board, it's going to kind of distinguish excuse me, Caffeine a little bit different from their competition. Not to mention, it's going to open up live streaming to content that really has kind of been dominated by gaming. Although we have seen just chatting kind of start to dominate on Twitch. Stump, what is your take on celebrities and what they're doing with their voices on streaming platforms?
My initial take was kind of in the vein of, I don't know why anyone would want to watch that, to be honest. Like, to be completely candid. But after mulling it around for a bit and seeing that Drake is what he's trying to get into and what he wants to do, I think it's actually an interesting take on it, a good way for him to kind of expand his brand a little bit without having to get involved in maybe a TV show or some kind of other social area. But I mean, it's an interesting move. I'm very curious to see how it turns out and who else actually decides that they want to kind of jump in. I mean, Drake just playing Fortnite or something like that, I don't think I'd be that interested in watching. But something that he's known for rapping, like something that's around what his core base is. Okay, that's an interesting way to go. So.
What do you guys think about it, Red Fox and Ty?
Fox, do you want to go ahead first?
I mean, it's a celebrity stepping into a new platform. I agree. It's a great way for him to get a little brand recognition on doing something different without having to sign with the traditional media source. But Yeah, other than that, it's not all that intriguing to me. Even on him doing rapping things on Twitch, that I'm not checking that out either.
I think
So
what's kind of interesting about celebrities jumping on is, traditionally they're part of studios or TV networks, that kind of thing. Whereas like if they're coming to streaming, they kind of have more control. At least I would imagine if they're not under contract, they would have more control kind of over their content, what they're doing. What about you, Ty? What's your take?
so I think Caffeine is still like nowhere close to the other streaming platform. So
Sure.
I mean, maybe this is a good thing for Caffeine. It's going to help boost their viewership, but I don't really think Drake is the answer to get more viewers over to Caffeine. I'm not a big rap fan myself, so I personally won't watch his rap battle show. And I'm not a Fortnite fan either, so I'm not gonna watch that. So I think it's kind of no news as Caffeine is so.
But if they make it big, Drake can say, "Started from the bottom, now we're here."
Yeah, I mean, and the future is streaming anyway. I see traditional media sources
Sure.
going out the window. So the fact that is going to have his own show and probably be able to produce it the way he wants to, as opposed to going to MTV and doing a show over there. MTV is going to be like, no, we don't really like that.
Right. He has more control over the content, that kind of thing. And I think we're gonna see more and more from especially maybe younger celebrities where they're not gonna really be beholden to kind of like where like Netflix and these platforms like that aren't really beholden to like the traditional model. Same with like any kind of YouTube star, you can get your content out there without really going through some gatekeeper. And maybe that's the future for celebrities, kind of as a way for them to I guess battle back against the rise of uh, the everyman becoming a YouTube star. Uh, so speaking of YouTube, as you might have seen in our title, YouTube has introduced a new, I guess, cheer feature called clapping. Viewers can now clap at their favorite YouTube stars as another way for them to earn money through the Google-owned video platform. The feature is officially called Viewer Applause on YouTube, and rests kind of in relationship to the like and dislike buttons for viewers and can be enabled in a creator's dashboard. So it can actually be turned on or off. However, the feature is still in beta testing, and only a number of creators with a little more than 100,000 subscribers actually have access to it at the moment. Uh, Viewers can pay $2 per clap with a cap of $500 per day or a $2,000 per week on super chats, super stickers, and viewer applause combined. According to a Google product blog post, it's unclear how the amount was calculated, but for creators, the 70-30 split with YouTube on super chats looks like it's going to be the same for these applause or claps. Um, I'm kind of interested on your guys' take on them sort of setting the actual monetary values. TIE Fighter, what are your thoughts on their monetization model?
Well, first of all, YouTube is horrible. Like new streamers should never go to YouTube because the monetization levels are so high before you can actually start making money that it's kind of pointless. Maybe if you already looks like we're having tech issues. Yeah, it looks like Stump dropped off the call. Stump's acting like he's frozen.
We're back. Oops, I am not muted over here. I'm hearing everything on a loop. But welcome back, everybody. We had a bit of a I had I guess, a power surge. My electric actually went out. Stump lost internet before that, so I'm not sure what's going on, but we are back. Uh, I guess that is what happens when you have your tech guy on the show. Fox, you're not taking care of stuff, so everything sort of fell apart.
This is why your tech guy belongs behind the scenes.
So we were, before we were so rudely interrupted by a power outage, talking about YouTube and their monetization policy with TheClap. Ty, what were your thoughts on YouTube's monetization model?
So yeah, I was saying that I don't actually think YouTube is a great place for new streamers to go because of their monetization, their levels. So you guys all know we do some YouTube content on the side, and it takes 100,000 or 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, 1,000 subscribers before we can even monetize for ad revenue on YouTube. Now, I'm sure YouTube gaming is slightly different because they're trying to keep up with Twitch and Mixer. But from what I've seen, it's pretty high as well. And the fact that these people, you have to have more than 100,000 subscribers to even get beta access. 100,000 people, like that's a lot of people to watch you before you can make $2 per clap.
The way I understood that was the people that are beta testing, there's a total of 100,000 people that have access to it at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think about the fact that they kind of set an amount that like at $2? What do you think about that? Because I know personally I like that somebody can give me 10 bits or 100 bits or so forth on.
So it's
on
$2 per clap. If they wanted to do it up to $500, you're fine.
Sure.
But man, that's a pain in the arse. Like, if you want to donate to somebody $500, can you imagine going through and putting clap 250 times? Like,
now that is a cap on like everything though. Super chat, super stickers, and I'm not sure what super stickers are, by the way. I don't think I've ever actually seen them. They're great stickers. Tell us a little bit about them, Stump. I've never
That's
actually.
all I got.
Oh, okay. So you're just being close, right?
Yep.
Well, what are your takes on it, Stump? What do you think?
I mean, like Ty said, or like I guess both of you kind of agree that it seems only about half baked, really. Because I mean, if I want to donate a large amount, I have to just sit there and click for how long? Like, what? Whose idea was that? Yeah, like, and you put a cap on how much I could put in.
Yeah,
relatively. I mean, like $500 is a good bit for me, like, but someone who, if you're talking about like a larger platform where you can pull in more money, that's not a ton, and that's per day. That, not to say, if I'm watching, say the three of you are streaming in one day, and I want to give each of you $200. Well, some one of you is not getting that,
right.
So
I wonder why the arbitrary number. I mean, there has to be a reason behind it. I can't really think of one, but what do you think, Fox?
I think caps are bad to begin with. Then you're dealing with not only a daily cap but a weekly cap. That's a bad idea. And then, honestly, when's the last time you dealt with a $2 bill?
It's been a while.
The $2 just, that's a weird number.
No spamming chat in caps, TIE Fighter.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying caps are bad. That's what Fox said. I was agreeing with him. So
yeah.
What does the Fox say? He says caps are bad.
Caps are bad. That's true, Eminent Stump. There are some strip clubs that use $2 bills.
Yes, there are.
Not that I've ever been to one.
So I'm told.
Yeah, that's just what I've heard. So speaking of getting in trouble with your wife by being in a strip club, Twitch streamer Sacriel was in hot water with his wife for doing an impersonation of her, allegedly. on his stream. So he kind of found himself in hot water and was actually called out while he was live by his wife. He wasn't just doing any old impression. He was actually mimicking the sound of a murloc from the Warcraft franchise, which is an often shunned race that makes indecipherable gurgling sounds. Murlocs are arguably the lowest on the food chain in that particular universe, and she was not pleased with being compared to one. She actually, like I said, confronted him during a stream, and he kind of played it off like it was a good thing. So let's take a look at the clip and see how that played out.
Soldier. Do you want to do that impression again? With me here? It's like you imagine I can't see you on the TV in the other room. What do I sound like?
Like an angel, like
No, let's hear it. Let's hear it again.
because you sound like an angel.
No, it sounded like a murloc. Say it again.
Well, like
So she didn't seem to be too happy. He did follow up after the stream with a tweet that said, even after getting caught on stream impersonating a murloc and saying that's how my wife sounds, I am still given a proper English dinner. It only smells like arsenic. He joked. So it's pretty easy to just kind of go off and crack jokes while you're streaming. And we as streamers kind of need to be careful because there are real life consequences to the things you say while you're live. Fox, have you ever had any blowback from a stream, or do you know anyone who has had any IRL blowback?
With as often as I stream, it's safe to say that I have not had any blowback. I try to be very thoughtful of what I'm saying and doing as I stream. So to avoid situations like that.
Yeah. What about do you know anybody else? Are you familiar with anybody else who's had any issues?
If they've had issues, they were not telling me about it.
Gotcha. So I asked you earlier. You said that you couldn't do a Murloc impression. Stump, what about you? Do you have a Murloc impression for us? I know you know what they sound like.
Good. I mean, I know I've heard yours, and it's not too bad.
There you go.
Similar.
So Ty, as a streamer yourself, have you had any blowback from any of your smart remarks made on stream?
Not yet, but I know that it's a matter of time. Not that it's never going to happen.
I would imagine after you stream so long, there's only so many words that can come out before your wife comes in and comes over the top of your head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, she's and like especially her, you know, like. So I see a lot of streamers that kind of like bring their wife in and fun of their wife or their significant others, and I disagree with that. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't do anything on stream that I wouldn't do like in real life, but more so, I think I'm a little bit more toned down to her on stream because she's not comfortable with cameras anyway. Like, she doesn't like being on stream. So I don't want to necessarily like make that worse on her for a couple of laughs, right? Like, that's just, it's rude. I mean, that's what it boils.
So what about in general? Do you know anybody who's had any blowback, not just with a significant other, but at all, personally, off of something that they said or did on stream?
I mean, not personally.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, Dr. Disrespect, if we want to go famous, you know, he ended up having an affair with his wife over, you know, one of his viewers. And it's like, I mean, this is still in real life. Like, you guys got to be careful.
Sure. So, speaking of being careful, let's talk about one of the most dangerous women around. I wouldn't want to say anything bad about her on stream. Ronda Rousey
Stump was looking
has
for his
signed.
wife.
Yeah, he was like, where? Ronda Rousey signed an exclusive deal with Facebook Gaming. She's a longtime gamer and obviously a pretty famous fighter, the baddest woman around. She's joined Facebook Gaming in an exclusive streaming deal, adding to the platform's growing portfolio of talent. The former UFC fighter and frequent World of Warcraft night elf announced the news in an Instagram post. She showed off her passion for gaming as she was pictured holding a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Pokemon Shield. She said, "Gaming has always been a huge part of my life, and I can't wait to share that passion with my millions of fans on Facebook Gaming. Through my streams, people can hang out with the real me, not the character version of myself that they're used to seeing, though the rowdy one can't always be contained." So this is just kind of an open question for you guys. I know you're all wrestling fans, and she is a professional wrestler as well as a fighter. What do you guys think about getting to see kind of a more personal side of not just some of your favorite celebrities, but actually a pro wrestler and a fighter? Go.
Okay, I'll go first.
Free for all.
I think it's pretty cool. Like AJ Styles streams over on Mixer. I've been able to catch a few of his streams over on Mixer. I know that the New Day does like a YouTube show where it's about gaming, right? However, for her saying that she's always been a big gamer and then like holding a Nintendo Switch is kind of awkward to me, because not that the Switch is a bad console, but that's not like, that doesn't scream hardcore gamer to me.
Right. I mean, I think what she was probably trying to get across is that's what she's going to be playing, maybe first,
right?
Or what she's playing right now. But yeah, that definitely doesn't necessarily.
I'm a hardcore gamer. Look at my Nintendo Switch. It even looks cute. Like the Switch looks cute.
You're a technophile.
Speaking about blowback from comments made on stream. Sorry, Nintendo.
Yeah.
There goes that sponsorship.
we're being sued by Nintendo actually now. We just got a cease and desist. So what do you guys think about the rowdy one, Fox? What are you thinking about her joining Facebook Gaming of all places?
So today has made me realize that I don't care about celebrities on streaming services. I'm happy to see someone else playing Warcraft. I love World of Warcraft. I'm always happy to watch somebody play that. And as far as the Switch goes, how you gotta stop belittling my favorite console now. I mean, I play Diablo on that all the time. It's a real console, dude.
Would it be cooler if she was playing World of Warcraft?
I mean, on the Switch, sure. I love the Switch. In fact, I have thought about not getting the new consoles because I like the Switch so much. I don't have to share it with my wife. That's the important thing.
There you go.
But yeah, as far as the platform itself, Facebook Gaming is an interesting platform. I have some friends who are streaming over there. I like it. It's an interesting choice.
I think for somebody like her who has already a kind of a massive following on Facebook, I would imagine it makes sense. Like, you already have your viewer base there, and you're going to bring in people that maybe don't watch game streaming because they're already, I guess, subscribed to your page. What do you think about that, Stump? You're a Facebook user and obviously a viewer of streams. Are you likely to search her out and watch her, or are you more likely to just kind of watch somebody maybe you already follow if they start streaming?
I think I'd probably be likely to watch somebody that I've already been following, but I'm not that big of a Facebook user. I do have Facebook. I'm on it, but mostly for the memes. Let's be real. Although, hey, I mean, if Facebook Gaming really starts catching on, maybe it's something that I will start paying more attention to. And if enough of these people that are pretty big personalities kind of start catching on, maybe I'll get to watch Ronda Rousey play World of Warcraft or whatever. I mean, I know Ty wants to knock Pokemon and the Switch, but I mean,
I didn't say anything bad about Pokemon. It was all about the
But I
Switch.
mean,
I play
It was the
Pokemon
same
Go
thing
on my
for
phone.
So do I. But yeah, I mean, like, I know somebody who's put in like 125 hours on that game, and you know, like that's a good bit of time. So I mean, people that have that much time to put into a game on their own, you know, maybe she's already doing that, and she will have some interesting content to put forth. I don't know.
You know what? That's a fair comment, Stump. The fact that you know, if you are putting 80 hours a week and you're gaming, then I guess that would still make you a hardcore gamer no matter what platform you chose.
Sure.
Those buttons are still getting worn out.
Yeah. And one more thing about Facebook, real quick. So I posted some stuff, and I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vee lately. And he talks about taking macro content and then splitting it up into micro content for the different platforms where you think it would do better on each platform. So last night I stayed up till about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, editing videos and then posting it to each of these platforms. And I will tell you that on Facebook, I got probably 3 or 4 more times the views than I did on Twitter, Instagram, or the actual YouTube.
Well, I mean, they have a much more, I guess, maybe this isn't the word, but decentralized way of kind of spreading things on Facebook, because you know you go through friends of friends, that kind of thing. So it's more likely to kind of spread amongst people than it is necessarily on like Instagram. So like if you don't go search stuff out on Instagram or you're not following somebody, you're not going to see it. You know.
Well, I thought it was
So that makes sense.
interesting because I didn't really use Facebook as my group, like my business page, because it's always been very big on ad revenue, which is cheap. If you want to get it in front of a lot of people, spending money on Facebook is a good idea. But I didn't push this as an ad, and I was still like way above Instagram and YouTube, Twitter, and I maybe have 50, 60 followers of the page. So it's not like it was getting tremendous growth, other than it was being seen by somebody. I don't know. Other stuff I posted wasn't getting that kind of. I was very curious.
Did you see any growth from it as far as followers or anything like that?
I think 3 people, you know, maybe. But just,
that's pretty
you know,
good.
A few reactions, you know. So we'll see next week when I post something else over on the page if we have the same kind of viewership on those videos.
Don't be hating, Mr. Tofu. I see you. I see you. So I want to jump into some gaming news, guys. Sony is reportedly battling to keep the price of the PlayStation 5 down. They're struggling to land on a price point for the new console. According to a report by Bloomberg, they're having problems with component shortages, and that's potentially pushing up the suggested retail price beyond that of the PS4. So the bill of materials what they're paying for as they're buying components right now stands at $450 just in components, which I think the estimate for the PS4 was actually $381. So you're looking at almost a $70 difference there. And that sold for $399 when it was released in 2013, just for comparison. So unless they're willing to sell the PS5 at a loss, $450 build would make the new console cost significantly rise. Then the I think PS4 Pro goes for $399, and it's often sold at a discount of like $300. So TIE Fighter, what impact do you think this is going to have overall on the sales of the PS5? And what would you say for somebody deciding to buy a PS5 at $500 versus maybe making the jump to PC?
So your first question about the overall on sales, I think consoles are a little weird because everybody constantly complains about the price of consoles, but everything has went up in prices. All technology. You see people spending $1,000 on phones now when they were used to spending $100 or $150, and like console players are so scared about those prices, and they complain so much that Xbox and PlayStation has constantly had to keep those price points down. They've lost money in the past because of that as well. So I think that if it's going to cost them money, that's a bad business move to put it out. If people don't want to pay the price, then don't let them pay the price, and maybe that's the end of the console wars, right?
Well, and I just thought of something interesting when you were mentioning the price of cell phones. We see now with phone providers that they're actually rolling the cost of the phones in with the plans where you're paying like $35 a month to basically like rent to own the phone. Could you see that happening with consoles, especially with people moving to paying for cloud-based services and kind of like your PS Pluses and that kind of thing? Could you see maybe the console companies start to do something to where you're making installment payments along with your subscription?
You could see that, but Xbox already and Microsoft already tried rolling that out a couple of years ago during
Oh.
Christmas. I think they were trying to boost their sales. I mean, they've lost against PlayStation, right? And Nintendo beat both of them. So Xbox tried to get ahead of the game and try to offer it at a lower price and let people just make monthly payments. But there's Finger Hut. Like we're all pretty old. I'm sure you guys remember those magazines, Finger Hut, that you could.
Yeah.
Stump's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So it was this magazine that would get mailed to you, and you could get, it was no credit check, but you could order something in there, and they spiked the price up. So we were speaking about $1,000 phones, and we're talking about the cell phone companies. They're rolling into the prices, but you pay tremendously amount more when buying it that way, right? So
It's rent a center by mail.
yeah, it's exactly what it was. Errands or. And then what about versus someone making a decision to move to PC, right? $500, right? Let's call it $500 is not going to get you a PC unless you're like bargain shopping on Facebook that you're going to get to play top tier games, right?
Right.
PlayStation and Xbox are giving you, they're talking about 6K now, SSDs, like top graphics for $600 or $500, right?
Right.
You get, I mean, Fox, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll get a pretty crappy video card if you're trying to do a budget build with $500.
Yeah, if you're trying to do something for $500 on Facebook Marketplace that'll play the games that the PlayStation 5 is going to play, you're eventually going to get a call from the police.
It's buying it out of somebody's trunk.
But
Oh, yeah.
That does remind me. I saw a news article a few weeks ago about I want to say it's NVIDIA is releasing cloud software to where as long as you have internet stability, you can actually log into one of their PCs and play those games. So I'm not sure how that's going to fold into that.
Interesting. Stump, what's your take? I know you're a mainly console player. What is your take on the cost of the consoles moving forward?
I mean, while the cost is going up, it's not egregious. So, I mean, cost of living goes up. Talking about 2013 was when PS4 was released. So 7 years for it to go up that much, it doesn't seem extreme to me.
No.
Maybe if we looked at the percentages, it might be a little high, but
When you put it in that context, it's really not
yeah,
that much.
yeah. So you're talking about. I mean, I bought an Xbox One, I think about a year after they came out, to be honest. So maybe 2014. I'm not sure exactly when they came out. And mine still runs perfectly. So I mean, you're talking about an investment that has actually lasted. Now, when you build your own computer, you are talking about a lot more money, and while those usually last longer, if I'm correct in saying that, unless it's yours.
Yeah. Died the first week.
Yeah, exactly. You know, barring that kind of bad luck, you know, maybe those are a better investment in the long run. But I mean, I guess it's just kind of comes down to whatever you want to put your money into over the next 10 years. Because is there really going to be much of a difference?
You know what would make me want to pay more money for a PS5? And maybe I'm alone in this, but I know my wife would agree with me. They need to bring back Max for Netflix on the PlayStation. If you remember back on the PlayStation 3, there was like an AI that came with the built-in Netflix app that helped you pick movies. It would like have you play a little like game, like trivia game, and it would help figure out what to watch.
Oh yeah.
If they brought that back, I would I would be into buying Max or PS5 for Max. That would make it completely worth it to me. You don't remember that, Justin? It was like get the Max from Netflix, and it was like a game show host that would talk to you. So speaking of money,
one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stump. Well, Stump was talking about the shelf life of these things, right?
Yeah.
And you, I think you said 14.
2013.
Well,
13.
that's when PS4 was, right?
So 7 years, right? You get a shelf life out of these consoles, and they're going up in price $150 about. But I remember when like the Nintendo 64 first came out, wasn't that like $200 when it first hit the shelves?
Yeah.
So you think about the Nintendo 64 being $200, and you're only paying $450 now, and how many years between that was? And the technology has just gotten like light years better.
Right.
You know, they're still giving you bargain for your bucks, and just people don't really think about that.
Yeah, if you look at the technology that's going into this, like they're changing over to solid state drives for the internal storage. I mean, anyone who's put a 500 gig or more solid state drive in knows that's not cheap. And I'm willing to bet they're not using SATA hard drives.
Yeah. And not to mention, your PC is still going to be needed to be upgraded as new technology comes out. You're going to want the new video card. You're going to want the new hard drive. You're going to want more space.
Yep.
You're spending a lot of money, and then you're constantly just turning around and putting that money back in that same PC. If you were smart enough to get a big box that you can actually upgrade it over.
Yeah, even if you maxed everything out on the PC, I guarantee you're changing something out within 7 years. And then add on some of the exclusive titles for Sony. I just don't see people doing a PC jump.
That is true, and that's something that consoles really have kind of at their disposal, is that they can kind of throw their weight around with the exclusives. So since we're talking about money, let's talk about the IRS. So the IRS on Wednesday, this will play into our lawsuit.
Can we change our voices and all put masks on for this segment?
Yeah. Don't come for us. The IRS quietly changed a provision on its website that said that transactions of virtual currency like Fortnite's V-Bucks were actually taxable and may have to actually be reported on your tax return this year. The provision had been on the IRS website since at least October. Bitcoin, Ether, Roblox, which is likely referring to Robux from the game Roblox, and V-Bucks were listed as specific examples of convertible virtual currency. The IRS defines examples, bless you, of a convertible virtual currency. The IRS defines a convertible virtual currency as one that has an equivalent value to or acts as a substitute for real currency. The IRS's website now only lists Bitcoin as an example of convertible virtual currency, despite being removed from the IRS's website there was some confusion as to whether they need to actually report this year because the IRS hadn't explicitly exempted it from our tax returns. So, Stump, how do you feel about potentially having to report in-game currency on your taxes?
Let me ask you this question: If I
Okay.
go to the casino and I put down $100 and I win $1,000,
Mhm.
do I have to report that?
Probably.
Well, I mean, I better go do something. I feel like
You should, yes. Like legally,
it's a
you're
bit
supposed
ridiculous.
to.
I mean, I know
we're,
that
we're not financial advisors, but
I mean,
I'm sorry, that's not the answer you were looking for.
well, no, it's not. It was the answer I thought I'd get, to be honest. But at the same time, you're kind of really digging into a lot of things there that you don't necessarily want to go down the route of. I think if you're talking about the IRS, I mean, you're talking about a lot of work for what kind of return. And I mean, you're expecting people that are anonymous usually as much as possible. I mean, do we think this is a rabbit hole that they want to go down? It doesn't seem like good policy to me.
It seems to me like the fact that they listed Bitcoin in there with game currency is a little strange because Bitcoin is
It's
a
not.
cryptocurrency where it's, you actually can go and trade it in and out. You could convert it back into US dollars or euro, whatever. Where V-Bucks, like for Fortnite, it's kind of like you buy the V-Bucks. Can you convert it? Can you get a refund on your V-Bucks? I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. It's kind of strange to me, and I
Yeah.
feel like, and Fox, you want to jump in here? I feel like there's a big difference between cryptocurrency and game currency.
yeah, I feel like they were really stretching it to get game currency in there. I understand that, like with Second Life, where you can convert it in and out. I kind of understand them looking at that, but yeah, I think they were just trying to reach as far as they could stretch and not being specific enough.
And then
Yeah,
I was actually brought this up to my wife during dinner tonight, and she thought it was pretty ludicrous because with V-Bucks, you're only buying in-game items. It's not like
Sure.
cryptocurrency where
Right.
you're going and you can actually purchase things with crypto. This is just literally for skins. So I thought she had a very good point there. And then my biggest gripe with it is you're now trying to be double taxed because you're getting taxed when you purchase the V-Bucks. And then you want me to also report it on my taxes? Like,
right.
That's not a problem as far as the IRS is concerned, though.
well, yeah,
You're hit multiple
that's-
times as it is, so it's not. It's
that's
not.
my
not
personal gripe.
You're supposed to be taxed coming and going. We're not getting the going. That's
What
the
is this,
problem.
New Jersey?
Born free and taxed to death. That's the way we do it.
No, I mean, like, Mike, I have another question in that vein, though. I mean, like, you're talking about a game, say V-Bucks, or any other game where you can earn those coins or bucks or whatever have you, um, in the game, but at a much lower rate. Like, say, I can earn 1,000 coins in a week, but I can buy 25,000, V-Bucks just like that.
Mhm.
I mean, if there's no way for me to pull out the currency, what is the point? I mean, can you pull out a V-Buck or anything like that?
I don't believe you can.
I don't know.
I'm pretty
think
sure
so.
that you can't. And GTA was gonna go down the lines of something like this, but what they were wanting to do was actually gonna fall into gambling, so they had to pull back some. But as far as like the V-Bucks and Roblox, I don't believe you can pull back out, because if you can, then yeah, you're right. That's now gambling,
Now, here I do have one. So, Fox, you're probably a little more familiar with this one, though. In World of Warcraft, you can take the in-game currency with the gold to buy tokens that will allow you to pay for your subscription, right?
Right.
Now, is that something that, I mean, they want to start taxing your in-game World of Warcraft gold coins?
I
I don't really.
They probably do. They probably do, to be honest. But see, where I see the line is you can't really pull money out of that. I mean, you could spend all your Warcraft gold all day and buy all the tokens, but in the end, it's just extending your subscription. It's not actually giving you money. Where in like Second Life, you could actually put money in, do things to make more Linden bucks, and then pull money out. So I can understand there in that video game, but I feel like they did a very poor job clarifying what really mattered and what didn't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that the tax code is. They sort of leave a lot of things in a gray area, and
Yeah.
it's sort of your job, especially like, well, rich people and corporations do this mainly, is a lot of times they'll make clarifying statements as to their understanding of said tax law or loophole or whatever, so that when the time does come around that they get audited, they can say, look, we did the best we could for with what we thought to comply. And that's just kind of way the tax code is. It's
Yeah,
sort of ambiguous so that they can kind of get you either way.
thanks to H&R Block, I've kind of had the statement of if you actually need IBM's Watson to do your taxes, there's something wrong with the tax code.
Yeah. You know, this would be the perfect time if we could get Vermive to jump in, but I'm sure he's working and not in chat. So all right.
I actually think he's off on Sundays, but yeah, that would have been a good person to get a quick call in from.
Yeah, guest correspondent.
A reporter in the field.
So we have a deal, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. YouTube made a new deal with Activision Blizzard, valued at about $160 million for media rights to their esports. Like I said, it's valued at about $160 million for 3 years. And this is according to people briefed on the terms of the pact. So take that with a grain of salt. The previous deal with Activision Blizzard was just for Overwatch League, was reported at about $90 million over 2 years. In the broader tech war between Amazon and Google, this deal is pretty significant, both because it means on the esports side, you know, there's kind of some battle going on between them, but also, and I wanted you to speak about this, Fox, between sort of their cloud services, which you have Amazon's AWS is a major player, obviously, in the cloud service industry. From a tech perspective, what do you think this means for these two platforms?
Well, it's great for Activision Blizzard because anytime you can offload some of your cost onto someone else, that's great.
Mhm.
Google is probably the third ranked for the cloud platform, so having this as kind of a marketing thing, look who we got on our platform, it probably will throw some weight too. Yeah, cloud computing is expensive. I'm sure you guys can agree with me on that.
Yeah.
So having a deal in place that kind of helps with some of that, it's always gravy.
No, I know we had talked about this article a little bit, and you were a little bit upset that they listed Hearthstone as kind of a sort of a tier 2, tier 3 esport, and I know you're an avid player. Do you want to talk about Hearthstone's esport and some of their other things they have going on?
Man, so I read the article and like my feelings were legitimately hurt for a minute because I love Hearthstone. Most of my streams, that's all you'll see. But they said that the Hearthstone deal was just a little bit of icing to put on the cake for Google, and that there was no real value in the purchase. And I was kind of offended for a minute, and then I remembered that at the time Blizzard was putting on a sale to have fans of the game buy packs to raise money for their tournaments. So Blizzard isn't even investing in it anymore. It's not a tier 1 game.
Sure. Yeah, crowdsourcing your prizes for your for your tournaments is pretty much the end of the road.
Yes.
Stump, what's your take on the Activision deal with Google?
I'm still back on crowdsourcing your prices. It's just, you know, like, how do you? I mean, I'm not the tech savvy person that Fox and Ty are. So, anything I say on it will probably just sound pretty
Well,
lay compared
well,
to them.
well, outside of the tech part of it, Stump. What about the esport news? The fact that they're investing in esports. I mean, we're talking about you know basically one of the biggest companies in the world, if not the biggest, investing in
mean,
esports. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, seeing someone like that invest in this, I mean, it goes to show that they think it's a viable market. That there is a future in this, and there is a way to make money, which obviously there is. I mean, it's going to be expanding, and hey, maybe it's a way for them to get into more entertainment-related things and diversify. Which I mean, they need to diversify some more, I think. But
Yeah, because they don't have their hands in everything.
literally,
Yeah.
So
Including they're listening right now.
okay, Google.
Whoa! My phone just went off. Ty, what's your take?
I agree with Fox. The value that Blizzard got for signing with YouTube is amazing for them. They're a great gaming developer company. So being able to have somebody like YouTube backing that, even if it's on a different platform, some of that money's going to trickle down throughout the. So
Sure.
other than that, I mean, it's esports. Check out Gary V's esports company. Let's see what he does first.
Yeah. Yeah, he usually knows what's up. So guys, we're gonna jump into entertainment news, and we got a first glimpse of a first glimpse with an S of Robert Pattinson as the Dark Knight. Filmmaker Matt Reeves shared a camera test of Pattinson in the costume for the new Batman movie on Thursday afternoon. In recent years, filmmakers have often shared first looks at anticipated characters while films were still in production. In September, we got Todd Phillips shared a look at Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, which I watched this weekend for the first time, in his full makeup, a full year before the movie opened. Such reveals are particularly attracted to filmmakers who are shooting outdoors, where bystander paparazzi obviously are going to get shots of the costume anyway. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that new costume.
Or not.
Maybe not. He is the Night Symphonic. Are we done? There we go. So, Eminent Stump, you are a giant nerd. What do you think of the new look?
I mean, I like it. To me, it kind of has a bit of a '90s feel, which I'm wondering if they're going to get a little bit of blowback from. I mean, I know the George Clooney Batman wasn't that well received with the bat nipples and everything.
Bat nipples. I love bat nipples.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I like it. I mean, simple as that. But I mean, the reason they do these things is hopefully to get a feel for what the public response is going to be. Occasionally we see something like this change in more
Sure.
recent years, which hopefully they can sample a few of these things. But I mean, overall, I think it looks great. I mean, it is, like we said, it's a teaser. I mean, I would love a better look at it because it's like, oh, you got to see a little bit of the chest, you see a little bit of the cowl, the very prominent jawline.
Yeah.
Like
That was my first thought when they cast him was his jawline. What do you think about the casting of Robert Pattinson, Red Fox?
You know, I try really hard not to judge everyone before I actually see what they can do. I haven't seen Patterson in anything outside of Twilight, so I don't feel like I have a good base to make an opinion on. I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't have my hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to not see a Batman movie because of who's playing Batman, and I mean, he certainly has that jawline. So, Ty, what is your take on the new costume?
So it's funny. I watched this with Fox and had a big argument over what the chess piece actually was, whether it was a batarang, which is what I think. He thinks that they're actually individual knives, and he's going to stab people with the knives. But I agree with you guys. The jawline was definitely a big thing for me. I hated the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman with a passion. Why are you shaking your head no, Stump?
Well, I think Pattinson and Ben Affleck were actually really great castings for Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking at a dual role here, so
Yeah.
it's difficult to get someone who's going to nail it for both roles. Hopefully, you're going to get someone that is a perfect fit for one and does well in the other. But
Well,
I mean,
and
I'm a big Bale fan, so Christian
let's
Bale,
face
I
it,
think,
though,
nailed both.
Affleck could play the shark from Jaws, and it would have been fine.
It was the butt chin with Affleck, you know, and I have a butt chin myself, so I can make fun of people with butt chins. That's actually why I keep facial hair on my chin.
So, speaking of Batman, let's talk about Batman. There is a new Batman the Animated Series tie-in comic coming to DC in a couple of months in April. So DC Comics is launching a new 6-issue miniseries called Batman: The Adventures Continue in April. This is set in the world of the beloved show. The digital first series is written by the show's producer Paul Dini and Alan Burnett and is illustrated by Ty Templeton. If you're not familiar with those guys, Paul Dini and Alan Burnett pretty much have their hands in everything Batman. They also, if you guys remember, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Nice.
They were a big part of that as well. For many people, the Emmy Award-winning Batman the Animated Series is the definitive adaptation of The Dark Knight. I know when I think about Batman, that is the voice that I think of, Kevin Conroy. Over the course of 85 episodes, Dini, Burnett, and Bruce Timm produced mature and emotional stories that not only streamlined the Cape Crusaders mythology, but also introduced new elements into the show that eventually made their way into the pages of DC Comics. Actually, Harley Quinn and Renee Montoya were both their creations. Batman: The Adventure Continues is going to be part of an initiative to introduce new characters into the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series line of toys. So, as usual, this is to sell toys. With Templeton designing these new edition in Bruce Timm's style. So the comic will feature many familiar faces from the DC animated universe, like Superman and Lex Luthor, and some that never actually appeared in the world until now, like Jason Todd. So what do you think of their plan here? And do you think this will actually spin up into maybe another continuation of Batman the Animated Series? TIE Fighter, what are your thoughts?
Well, the first thing, I can't get elevator go down the hole out of my head since you said Tiny Toons Adventures. Yeah, so way to segue over to that. But so I'm not a huge DC fan, but Batman is like the one that I love from DC the most.
Sure.
But me personally, I'm a little bit. I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this. I'm a little bit comic booked out. All right, guys. I like I want new characters to be introduced. I want new superheroes. Like Batman's awesome, but introduce somebody new, introduce a brand new story instead of Hollywood. And it's not only comic books, guys. It's everything that Hollywood is doing right now. They just want to rehash or remake everything, and it's just this infinite loop that we keep going through, and want original content.
I mean, I agree with that, but I would say that when it comes to this, I mean, you're talking about the truest form of what Batman is,
Yeah.
and written by some of the ones that have done him the best. You know, I mean, I feel like maybe if they were like, yeah, we're going to reboot Batman the animated series from the beginning, I'd be like, you know, it's been done a million times. That not meaning that I'm not going to watch it, but you know, I feel like returning to their roots with, you know, a line of comic books, especially that it's going to be digital only, is probably a good move for them business wise. Stump, are you? I know you're a big comic reader. Are you? Are you going to be? Are you going to be reading this?
I would definitely like to. I would definitely like to. I mean, this is a nice take on something. I mean, Ty makes a good point that like we keep getting reboots and remakes, but that's probably not the best argument for this genre because you're talking about something where it's kind of continuous. Like this is the cinematic telling of something. Like we keep seeing comic book movies, and sometimes they do introduce new people, but that's kind of the point here, though, is they're characters that we know we want to see them because of that.
Mhm.
And here you're seeing a new storyline of something. I mean, there's a million comics out there. If you want a new character, check out Squirrel Girl. You know, like there's so many like B team guys out there that you could literally never read the main roster people and never run out of comics to read.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, DC, and I was never a big Marvel reader. Over the years, has had to do multiple reboots because they extend uh, their catalog so big with new books and new characters that they eventually have to like whittle it down. Uh, you know, with Crisis on Infinite Earths and then Infinite Crisis and time, you know,
I
Time
mean,
Crisis. There
how
was.
often do they have to fix their universe because they've grown too big? Like every 2 or 3 years?
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems that way sometimes. For a little while there, it was every couple of years. But I think they did it in like '85, and then again in like the
90s.
mid to late two, like yeah, the mid to late '90s, maybe early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Fox, I know you when you first read this, you told me that you were excited because you thought they were spinning up a new show. So what are your hopes for this comic now that you found out that it is a comic?
Yeah, so I misread it and thought they were doing a continuation of the animated series. And that led me to find out there was already a continuation of the animated series on DC Universe.
Now, I thought
So
that was interesting when you brought that up because I immediately thought about Batman Beyond, which I think they were talking about in chat. But you said that there was actually another continuation of the animated series.
there are 24 episodes in between the Batman animated series and the introduction of Batman Beyond that I think I can only actively remember one episode from. And like it started right after they decided they were done with the animated series, but I only remember that one episode.
I have no recollection of this show, so I need to go back and make sure that I watch it.
But as far as the comic goes, I mean, I see myself reading this, and I guarantee I will be reading it with Kevin and Mark's voice in my head.
Yeah, how can you not?
Oh yeah, I was so excited to see him finally being able to play Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we kind of got Mark Hamill, sorta, because he was Trickster, right, on the Flash.
Yes, yes,
So
he
we kind of
was. He was the trickster in the '90s show, The Flash, and they brought him back for the current one.
right, right. So we got to kind of see him as a sort of Joker, which was pretty neat. Yeah, it you know with as far as the voices go, at least for those of us that grew up in that period of time when the show was out, that's Kevin Conroy is Batman. I mean, when you hear his voice, you can't hear. I couldn't tell you anything else that he's in. He's Batman. That's
I
who
just
he is.
assume he's never done anything else.
Yeah. I know, and if you haven't, not to necessarily plug a different podcast, but if you've never listened to Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man on Batman, um, where he will have Paul Dini on, he has all these people on, he had Mark Hamill on, but his very first episode was with Kevin Conroy, and he actually Kevin Conroy like made him cry because he encouraged him as in Batman's voice. And he actually was in tears that Batman was encouraging him. But it's a really good podcast, and if you love Batman, I highly recommend it. And they do watch throughs of stuff with like Paul Dini and talk about, like, I think the first one I remember they did was the Phantom Menace, not Phantom Menace, Phantom something. Phantom Menace is Star Wars. It was the Phantom
The Mask Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm. There you go. I was thinking the Phantom Mask. I was like, that's not right. I know that's not right.
Some of the opera.
Phantom of the Opera. There we go.
Yeah.
They watched Phantom of the Opera. It had nothing to do with Batman.
They wore masks.
Yeah. Yeah. That guy had a cape. He had a cape, right?
Yeah.
Was that
So,
just Deathstroke?
Maybe. So yeah. But very good podcast. Highly recommend it. As well as if you like table of content, you might like Fat Man on Batman. So speaking of our heroes.
Speaking of Batman, here's more Batman.
Yeah, let's talk about Batman. Now, so speaking of nerdy stuff, and one of my favorite actors as a kid, Rick Moranis is going to be coming back to the big screen. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s and you didn't watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, did you really have a childhood? I think you have to ask yourself. So Rick Moranis, his last acting appearance was in the 97 sequel of Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. Until now, he is there's a new installment of the series coming entitled Shrunk. Just Shrunk. We'll see Moranis reprise his role as Wayne Selinsky with Josh Gad starring as the son to his character. I'm pretty hyped about this. How hyped are you for the return of the Nerd King himself? Do you think we're going to see him maybe bring back his iconic character from the Great White North, Bob McKenzie and Hugh Hoser? Red Fox, what do you think about Rick Moranis coming back after all these years?
I gotta say, I'm excited to see him come back. As a kid, me and my brother actually watched Honey, I Blew Up the Baby a lot. Like, we actually wore out the VHS of it. So
it's a great movie.
Very excited to see him come back. And I'm very impressed at how he's managed to just stay away all this time. Like, he just said, all right, I'm done. I'm going to deal with my family now. And that's what he did. I got a lot of respect for that. And I'm really happy to see him come back.
Yeah, and if you are unaware of where he's been, his wife passed away from cancer in the mid 90s to late 90s, and he just walked away from acting to raise his kids. And I guess he feels like now it's a time in his life where he wants to come back. Now, he has apparently done some voiceover work, which I was unaware of. But Stump, what do you think about another installment of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise?
Well, it's about time,
right?
I was a big fan of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That was the one I don't know that we wore it out ourselves, but we watched that one a lot in the Stump household. And I mean, with Auntie and everyone, it's just such a great movie.
Yeah.
And he's always playing such fun characters. I mean, how could you not love Rick Moranis as a Hoser?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love Bob and Doug McKenzie. Strange brew, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited to see such a great actor finally come back. Although, I mean, I thought it was one of the most respectable things that I'd seen when I found out why he stepped down from acting. I mean, that's a class act, really. I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's family first always, for sure.
Yeah.
Ty, were you a big fan of the series as a kid?
I was, and I actually kind of forgot about it recently until I saw the news article that came out with him. It was an interview with him that I read. He never really retired. He just got extremely picky. But like one of my favorite scenes after like rethinking about the movie, I still haven't. I need to go back and watch it. When they go like down into the anthill and they're like riding on the ant through everything. That was really fun. And then I loved him in Little Giants too. That was a great movie. So yeah, I'm excited to see him, reprise the role. And like Fox said, and like you all said, mad respect to the guy for just staying out of the spotlight to raise his kids and not feeling like he had to make a few movies or taking some D roles to do so. I mean, he turned down the Ghostbusters cameo when they did the reboot with the all-female cast. Everybody else did their cameos, and he turned it down. He's like, that makes no sense. So yeah, mad respect to him for like sticking to his guns, and if it didn't make sense to him, he wasn't gonna.
Yeah, I think we can all maybe learn a little lesson from him. Be a little more picky. So we've got one more thing I want to talk about. I don't really have a question, but we're gonna watch a real quick clip here, and then when we come back, I'll get your thoughts.
Is that it?
No, that
Let's try that one more time.
So that was the new. It was that Fox. Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, it was.
This is why I've been away from streaming so long.
Yeah, he's been in Siberia. No internet there. So that was the teaser trailer for the new season of Stranger Things. I think a lot of people were wondering what happened to that particular fellow that we saw there at the end in the last season. Stump, what are your thoughts on it being confirmed that he is in fact still alive?
Called it, comrades.
I definitely thought so as well.
I mean, I think everybody did. I mean, he was such an important character, and off-screen death. Like of course everyone's going to speculate that the character's still alive. I'm very excited. I didn't think they would just throw it in the teaser like that. I thought they were gonna keep the suspense alive a little bit longer, but then again, now everyone is really excited because I mean it ended on kind of a sad note essentially. So
yeah, it was very very Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah. I mean,
so Symphonic, you've never seen Stranger Things. Apparently you're not the only one. TIE Fighter has not seen Stranger Things as well, and I wonder what the heck are you guys doing with your life?
So I do a lot of work where you just kind of sit around and watch a lot of Netflix. So there's that. But no,
One of my-
I've tried to watch, and I watched a few episodes of season 1, and I thought they were good episodes. I just never fully got into binge mode with it, so I never finished it.
Gotcha.
But I know that I've heard from like numerous people it's so good that it's binge worthy. So I'm actually kind of scared to go and watch them because I have too much work.
Yeah.
Only
I
so
mean,
many episodes, though.
to be fair, I got through the first season in a day
Yeah.
when it first came out.
Is it 8 episodes a season? I want to say.
The first season may have been a little bit shorter than the last two. I can't remember.
Let's say it's 10.
Is it that many?
I think 10 is the magic
Seasons
number
may
for
vary,
Netflix.
yeah.
And
No,
they're
that's true.
hour long,
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
and hours that you just sat on the couch.
Well,
It might be 42, like the 42-minute block thing, but I don't know why that.
usually Netflix is not the 40, like they usually use the full hour,
Yeah,
or
right.
they'll end at
Yeah.
like 52 minutes, but then the next episode will go like an hour 5. They really are pretty close on that hour mark on all the original content.
so Fox, I know that you're not some kind of a weirdo that hasn't watched Stranger Things. What are your thoughts on
Hey, Ghost Fighter's in chat. He hasn't seen it either, so.
I
What is
I
wrong
have
with you
finished
guys?
every season in the weekend it came out. So
Same.
yeah, I binged like the first season. Here's what got me. I sat there and went, "What are they going to do 80s next?" Because my fascination with this show isn't the actual story; it's how accurate they're trying to be with the 80s.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of how they set it in those time periods too. I was a big
It's
fan of
weird.
the D&D aspect of the
Yeah,
first season as well.
I was gonna make that point. Like, it's really weird what grabs people in that show. The 80s and accuracy towards the 80s, the D&D, the horror of it almost.
Mhm.
It's so weird how many different things they kind of fall under for being able to grab people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really, and there's the paranormal aspect to it. There's where it's kind of borders on science fiction. It's kind of, you could go either way with it.
The Soviets invading, you know.
I got a
Violet
question.
Fox, you've
Yeah,
also never seen it.
So if Red is sitting around all weekend watching these seasons, like what is he not doing that Violet has never seen a single episode?
So here's how it normally works out. I'll be in the bedroom watching it. My wife will walk in. She'll see what I'm doing. She'll roll her eyes and she'll walk out, closing the door behind her.
It's a normal experience for you there.
Yeah.
Let's mark this so we can cut it out for the podcast. Hashtag married life. That's right. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward. What are your thoughts on how he ended up where he is in that clip?
That clip just meant I don't have to watch season 4 now.
Because he's alive.
He's alive. That was my only question. It's kind of like Walking Dead. Who was gonna die by Negan? After I got that, I was done.
Interesting. See, to me, I want to know, did he go through the Upside Down? Was he captured maybe by the Russians and taken? How did he get there? That's what I want to know.
And how's he gonna get back to 11?
And how's he gonna get back? Yeah. So
And most importantly, where are they building that railroad to?
yeah. Maybe they're planning on building a railroad into the Upside Down.
That's a good point. I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Yeah,
I gotta see where those tracks go.
Storyline, huh? Yep.
All right, boys. So anything that you would like to plug coming up in the next couple of weeks? Red Fox or Ty, you got anything?
I don't really have anything to plug. The one thing I'd want to plug is that awesome Rocket League tournament we had yesterday. So it doesn't seem like a great thing to plug. I don't stream much, so I'm not going to pimp out my own channel, but I would like to welcome everyone to join our Discord.
Yeah.
We have an amazing community in our Discord, and I don't feel like it's big enough yet.
Yeah, we're getting close back to that 100 mark, so it would be nice to see us grow.
We're
to
also
that,
getting close
to
to
that
the end
level.
of March, so
Yes. That's true. That's true. So if you're in here and you're listening and you haven't hit level 1 in the Discord, I highly recommend you do so. Stump, how is the script for the next installment of Red Baron Private Eye coming?
It's coming. It'll be eventually. Sometime after some of those other projects that we've been working on get there, but hopefully very soon. Hopefully.
Very soon. Awesome. And TIE Fighter, anything you'd like to plug?
So we did start doing Mixer Monday. I'm not sure if we're actually going to have an episode of Mixer Monday tomorrow, or if there is a future for Mixer Monday. There's some things we're talking about maybe rebranding the channel a little bit. So we will keep you guys up to date on any changes of those coming along. Tomorrow is Monday, Tetsu. Tomorrow's also President's Day.
Yep.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're
I feel
off
like I should not go
for
to work
President's
tomorrow.
Day, that's awesome for you. I am not off. And then I did just post a video to the Elevate the Network YouTube video last night. It was a kind of highlight of all of my good scares from Scare Saturday. So that's a pretty cool watch, and I look forward to doing some more videos like that in the near future. Cool. And then I'll be streaming on Tuesday and maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see what the future holds. Yeah, that's
Cool. I actually plan on streaming Tuesday. It's a day that I'm supposed to stream that I never do, but I think I might as well.
well,
so
I moved to Wednesdays mostly because we have a prior arrangement as well. So
that works for me. So guys, we will be Tatsu, thank you. I'm glad you're excited. We will be back next week, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, as usual, here on the channel. Look forward to seeing you guys. Don't have the complete lineup for next week, but we do have confirmed one guest, a brand new guest, Mr. Brose Wood will be here. I cannot read what that says. Thank you for the follow.
Lano 20, Lano 20.
Me Piccolano 20.
Nice.
Thank you very much for the follow. But Brose Wood will be here next week. And I'm really, really looking forward to talking to him. But if you guys haven't already, give us a follow here on the channel. Go check out our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram. Give us some love there. Give us a follow. We post fun stuff, and we keep you up to date on what's going on with Elevate. If you would like to be a guest or you have a topic you would like to hear discussed, hit us up on Twitter, shoot me an email, zazzaboo@elevatestreams.com, or you can send a email to content@elevatestreams.com. Thank you. We will see you next week. With that, my friends, I bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night.